Adventure Time is one of those shows that has an absurd variety of episodes. As discussed on the channel, some episodes make you question the very fabric of your reality. Click the I to go watch my video on that, as well as episodes that focus on the simple yet complex side characters. You know the writers are in their groove when they start giving lore to these absolute jobber characters. That, or they're just running out of ideas.
I wish I could spend just one day on the other side of the mirror. Well, let's switch places for the day. Oh, peace!
Shut up! Shut up! We're not here to be negative. It's just character building, hee. See, as any good show continues, we have to have character development. And with a show as long as Adventure Time, this is almost a guarantee. Finn the human, who first starts off as an immature boy who just wants to fight monsters, eventually goes through puberty, to the point where he starts doing some ridiculously obscene shit. Yeah, we had the whole wet dreams thing.
Body is engulfed in flames!
And while that episode was very weird, what the f*** was this episode?
What the hell is this?
No, we don't have to go into this episode anymore. Actually, it'd make for a good video. Let me know down in the comments if you want a video analyzing this disgusting, absolutely abhorrent, repulsive, violently vomit-inducing... There's one episode, though, that confused everyone. An episode that had no explanation. An episode I don't think anyone truly understands. This is the episode called The Hall of Egress. The episode begins with Finn and Jake trekking up a hill looking for a mysterious dungeon that Flambeau's brother told them about. Already from the jump, we see a mention of a previous episode, marking for a really cool connection. What's even better is if we go back to that same episode, we hear Jake say,
I hope this mystery cave we're looking for is as weird as Flambeau's brother says it is. Maybe that'll snap you out of the... Whoa, what? What's this train all about?
It's a seamless connection between the two episodes that are in fact 2 seasons apart from one another. Almost like the writers wanted to write the episode The Hall of Egress first, but just as Finn and Jake were interrupted on their way there, the writers too were impeded with an idea for another banger episode. I'll get to another amazing connection later on in the video. Trust me, some AOT foreshadowing is incoming. Finn and Jake finally come across the dungeon and it's out here looking so ominous, like it's completely out of place. So Finn enters when he steps on a switch and a boulder blocks the entrance, separating the two from one another. Finn says,
not even Jake could smash through this mess.
Which is the writer signaling to us that he is well and truly on his own. Finn decides to travel on in case he can find another way out when he comes across 3 different pathways.
Classic.
Finn decides to leave a trail using the fabric of his t-shirt, even more foreshadowing for the end of this episode, but then Finn falls down this ledge. He now finds himself in this interesting room. In the middle, there's this upside down snowman statue and this vault door that says Hall of Egress.
Say that again?
I don't know about you, but when I first watched this episode, I immediately thought that name sounded so cool. It probably has some complex, mystical, and rich lore. Like, what the hell is Egress? It's probably some valiant knight or a cool dragon that did some absolutely insane shit.
What's egress mean?
Exit.
Oh.
Alright, I'll just go f myself.
Finn tries his best to open the vault, but to no avail. He then grabs one of the stones from the statue to try to break through the door, but yet again, it doesn't budge. It seems like he gives up, so he shuts his eyes and this happens. Strange. He's back in his clothes now, and the snowman statue has been unharmed. So Finn starts to realize that it's probably some magic door, and thinks he's completely solved it. When his eyes are open, he can touch the vault, but as soon as he closes them, his arm goes straight through.
Hey, what? Think outside the box, son of a frickin'!
With a cheeky but cocky smile, Finn walks through.
That ought to done it. And...
What the hell?
let's try that again.
He begins to feel around for things, and he finds a thread. Maybe the one that he left in the beginning? He follows the thread, but then he falls down a trapdoor with 3 spikes at the bottom. So Finn decides that it'd be best to plan his route and go back. So he opens his eyes.
Fiendish.
Such a random word to say, but fits the entire situation perfectly. Finn decides to map out the path he quote-unquote sees when he closes his eyes. He follows his own directions, but the tunnel now has completely changed. He doesn't find a thread. He now touches a sign that reads egress, and immediately starts running in that direction. As he continues, he discovers more and more signs, and it seems like he's finally made his way out. Oh, come on! Finn sits alone in that dark room and says,
"Every map I make is wrong. All the exit signs led to traps. It's almost like the maze is trying to tell me something. Something confusing."
Then he's all like, screw this cryptic BS, and he just starts running.
Alright, let's go. Here we go now. Here we go now. Now we're running. Now we're running. Now we're running. Now we're running.
After pausing to catch his breath, he hears a familiar voice. It's Jake. A smile spreads across his face, and he quickly runs towards it when this happens.
Jake! That's a little disappointing.
Finn pops up again, but keeps his eyes shut and apologizes to Jake for disappearing just before. But Jake says,
Again? You just got here, son.
Finn says that the cave is confusing his brain, but Jake questions what cave he's referring to. So Finn shows him the map they followed at the beginning of the episode, and oddly, the cave has completely disappeared. I was so confused, but also excited as to what the hell was going on in this episode. This is exactly where those two cool dragon pillars were, but it's like it's been plucked from reality. Jake says that there's nothing but grass here, and Finn says,
What? Let me see.
I don't even know. I don't understand. What? What does it even mean?
Also, if you're enjoying the video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. So he goes back once more. We then hear Finn telling Jake that whenever he tried to get out of the cave by planning out his path and memorizing where to go, he always failed. But whenever he just ran through like it was nothing, he was able to find Jake. Jake questions why he's not able to remember any of it, but Finn genuinely has no idea and hopes that when he wakes up in the morning, things will be different. Keyword, different. In the morning, this happens.
Are you gonna open your eyes now?
Maybe.
Are you scared?
No.
Then do it.
And they begin to count down. And what do you know?
Why am I losing lives?
We see a quick time skip, and according to Jake, it's been a month now where Finn has kept his eyes shut. He asks him if he's gonna open his eyes, but Finn tells him that it's all just gonna be the same. He has to wait until something is different. So Jake, like the cheeky bastard he is, plays a social experiment on Finn.
I got you a little something. A little present.
Wow, thanks, man.
Really gonna thank me. Gotcha!
What the fuck?
What's even worse is what Finn says next. Jake has done this 30 times now. So Jake laughs it off and asks Finn to look at it from where he's sitting. Get it? Look? Cause he can't? Do you get it? Do you get the thing that he can't see? Do you get it? Like,
Did you get a joke? Good.
Jake says that whatever Finn's seeing is the textbook definition of a hallucination. Maybe all of the things he saw were a dream.
Or like, I'm a dream. And I ain't no dream, you heard?
And then you already know where this is going.
Suck it, you bits. Oh, what the hell?
Well,
Open up!
Finn looks depressed and defeated. He goes through the same loop one more time, but this time he says,
oh, Jake, I know you mean well, but I guess I gotta see this one through on my own. I'll see you around, buddy.
and he leaves his home and Jake behind. The next we see Finn. He's dirty and parched. He hears a river and drinks from it before realizing that a thread of his t-shirt got caught somewhere. He's annoyed and pulls it back, saying that Jake would eventually track him down using it. And that's not necessarily correct. Jake has some kind of super smell, which he's used to find him before. Instead, this line serves another purpose, which relates to what Finn does next. Instead of just pulling the thread back and tearing it, he begins to take off all of his clothes and states,
No more threads to follow. No more egress.
The next we see him, he looks like a caveman. He's dirty, practically naked, living out in the wild and eating shit like skunks. It's unclear how long it's been, but judging by how he's acting, it's been a long time. We see Finn go to many places, but then this is where I lost my shit. He ends up in the desert lands and we see that same cave. It's just in a completely new place. Finn keeps going, unaware that he just entered the cave. He misses the stone that trapped him in the first place. And remember the ledge he fell off the first time? There's now a ramp. He states he's happy to be somewhere cool and that no one is gonna find him here. But then he eventually bumps into the vault, feels for it, and quickly realizes,
Egress! 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 Egress!
Finn stops yelling and raises his eyebrows. Well, brow, and he taps the vault one more time. When his eyes were closed back in the original Hall of Egress, he was able to put his hand through like it wasn't even there. This time, however, he can feel it. We then hear BMO in Finn's head.
Something's different.
He begins taking off his blindfold when we see that there are several underneath. Poor guy is traumatized because Jake and BMO kept forcing him to reset. Finn takes a deep breath and opens his eyes. The vault is now open and Finn can walk through. He can see clouds around him as well as several seemingly never-ending transparent tunnels. He sees animals on the surface and others that live underground. And then he sees Jake. Just think about how long it's been since he's seen him. He smiles and sprints to him. This is finally it. He runs through the path that seemingly got him to Jake in the first place. When we hear this cryptic line said by Princess Bubblegum,
Hurry, Finn. At the seashell's center lies the cornucopia's smallest door.
the screen shakes and we see Finn finally emerge from the rocks in pure elation. Jake turns around slowly as the rocks hit him and Finn embraces his brother after who knows how long.
That must have been some cave.
No comment!
So I know what you're thinking.
What is this? Well, as you know, we had some new investors that have come
What
in.
is this?
Let's analyze what on earth we just watched.
Here's what I think happened.
This episode is one of the few times we see Finn alone without Jake. Yes, we've had some episodes prior where the two are separated, but this episode is mainly about how Finn can get himself out of a predicament unfamiliar to him without Jake's help. He tries a bunch of ways to get out, including mapping his whereabouts. None of it works. Only when he starts
Charging him willy-nilly?
could he escape and find Jake. Every time he starts again, he simply waits for something. He's waiting for the right moment, but it never comes. Because A, he's not doing anything and is in his comfort zone with Jake and BMO, and B, Jake and BMO always end up opening his eyes. In past episodes, most of the time when Finn is faced with challenges on the show, he tries to find his own way to overcome it. We see this in another way, when Finn refuses to let these creepy ass doctors kiss his broken ankle better, and he goes batshit insane, shouting,
My way! Yeah!
It is only when Finn leaves Jake and BMO that something starts to feel different. He takes off all of his clothes as a means to strip away everything he was, and now symbolically stepping into adulthood, a man. We see this as he begins to learn to survive in the wild without Big Brother Jake to help him or anything. And just like in the Hall of Egress, he travels blind into the unknown, because after all, that's what adulthood or any new stage of your life is. It's uncharted territory. He misses the booby trap that trapped him in the first place, and the ledge that he fell off from now has a slope, like the Hall is telling him to quote-unquote trust the process. Not everything is in your control. The future can be scary, but you have a choice. You can either try to control every outcome and run from uncertainty, or you can let the future unfold naturally, just as Finn eventually does, without overthinking or forcing it. Let's quickly analyze that cryptic bubblegum quote.
Hurry, Finn. At the seashell's center lies the cornucopia's smallest door.
This has a variety of meanings and interpretations, so let me just pin down what I think. Seashells symbolize growth and resilience. Cornucopia refers to something being in abundance or great supply, and the smallest door refers to Finn's next stage of his life. Seashells are typically spiral shaped, representing his repeated journeys between the Hall and home as he struggles to escape. The cornucopia, I believe, refers to Finn's unlimited potential, because as we've seen in the show, there is an abundance of it. His potential to be a better brother, a better friend, and a better hero. But the only way to get through that door is by letting go.
No more threads to follow. No more egress.
No more threads, as in no more going back. He tried leaving a thread behind before getting trapped in the dungeon, but it only led him to becoming even more trapped. That's why he tears it near the river. No more relying on relationships. No more relying on his physical belongings. It's time to just let go. Although he still has all of his similar qualities in the episodes to come after this is the episode that kicks off Finn's development into adulthood and maturity. After all, he had been in there for an awful amount of time.
That was definitely the longest adventure we've ever done.
What about when you got trapped in a mine dungeon for a bunch of years?
Being in there that long is cause for maturation. Finn is resilient in his journey. He doesn't give up and emerges a new person. That concludes theory 1. This seems to be the more accepted theory among the fan base, but I want to build on that, so...
Theory 2!
Finn at this current moment in the show has gone through a lot. The guy lost his arm, found his biological father, learned he was a two-timing rat, and began to question whether he should have searched for his true origins at all. He even has to say goodbye to him when the Catalyst Comet offers Finn a new mode of existence in the season 6 finale. Quick lore recap, Finn's had a myriad of past lives. One of them was a Catalyst Comet that arrives on Earth every 1,000 years, bringing with it an agent of change. It brought about the existence of Finn, representing all good in the universe, and even brought about the Lich, representing all evil. Just wanted to give some backstory for the people who haven't seen the show. Finn denies the Catalyst Comet's offer to reincarnate into a new life because he wants to see what his current life has to offer. Martin, Finn's father, wants to take the offer for himself, which understandably pisses Finn off.
Are you seriously trying to bail out again?
Martin says to Finn,
"You burn enough bridges, the only direction to move is forward."
Finn seems to accept that his father won't change, and Martin says,
"Goodbye, son!"
presumably inhabiting a new existence somewhere in Oo, or maybe in a different reality. It's not clear. Just look at what Finn says here in the Hall of Egress.
I'm Finn Mertens, you heard? I don't need no nothing. Watch me.
Mertens being the surname of Martin. Despite all of their issues, he still sees him as his dad. Although Finn comes to terms with the kind of guy his father was, it's still a heavy loss for him, because as far as he knows, it was the last link he had to his human heritage, and he may never find out where he truly came from.
"Goodbye, son!"
Finn also ruined his relationship with Flame Princess by constantly forcing her and the Ice King to fight, just because it gave him wet dreams. Yes, seriously. The guy also had to observe an alternate wish reality where he became crazy with ice powers and indirectly destroyed the world.
Man needs a maid, a man needs a maid, a man needs a maid!
Housekeeping.
And although he convinces Prismo to change the reality slightly, you can tell that Finn is deeply affected by it. Just look what he says here.
Huh, that's his family.
And what is the episode that comes straight after this? Hall of Egress. Him tearing off his clothes is symbolic. He is getting rid of all of his past trauma and bad memories involving his dad, the Lich, Flame Princess, to strip away all the hurt and agony. This connects to Martin's quote about moving forward. In a way, Finn tearing off his clothes is him burning his bridges of suffering. This episode is him saying goodbye to his trauma. Thus the name Hall of Egress, as in to exit that part of his life for something new. Although things don't necessarily get better right away, Finn eventually finds more humans. He finds his mother, albeit a digital version of her, and more or less figures out how he got to Ooh. He makes up with Flame Princess. Finn does lose his arm, however, but he states himself that it feels natural to only have one arm. But there's one more theory that works in tandem with the previously stated ones. You see this snowman at the center of the hall? It's upside down, so many people have speculated that if Finn had just put the snowman upright, the vault would have opened. I like this theory because it fits in with Finn's character. One of the first things he does is grab the stones of the snowman and throw them at the vault. Ultimately, I think the Hall of Egress is relative to whoever enters it. Its design is meant to take them on a journey of self-reflection and self-improvement. The snowman is placed in the center because the hall knows Finn won't think about the simple option and instead resorts to brute forcing his way through. It's genius storytelling. Oh yeah, real quick, let me show you just how insane the foreshadowing of Adventure Time is. As I mentioned previously, Dungeon Train is deeply connected to this episode. See, this one takes place a few episodes after Flame Princess dumps Finn. On the way to the mysterious cave, which we now know was the Hall of Egress, Finn says to Jake,
Like, my inside voice has been kinda quiet lately. Not a lot of instructions forthcoming, you know?
he's in a strange and uncomfortable place that he doesn't know how to navigate. That's when they come across the Dungeon Train. They enter and they find out that each car is like a level in a video game, with each of them having different creatures to fight. Enemies even drop loot after getting defeated. There's even a
Boss battle! Let's chew it up!
It gets stale to Jake pretty quickly, but Finn doesn't want to leave because this is the first time in a long time he's felt anything. His inside voice keeps telling him that this is some good stuff. Later, Jake finds a crystal ball that one of the enemies dropped that shows the future, and he sees that Finn is old and is still fighting on the train. After the pair fight because of their disagreement, Finn takes a look at the crystal ball to see how cool he looks in the future, but then he sees a frail and old Jake next to him. That finally makes him realize that it's time to leave the train. He comes back to Jake and apologizes for going too far. These two episodes don't just share a thematic connection, that being that Finn gets himself quote-unquote trapped in a place that causes self-reflection and change by the end. There's also this small detail. See, when Finn apologizes, he tells Jake that he promises he'll come back in a few weeks and that Jake can go home. Obviously, Jake gets pissed, saying that it's just the train talking, but then Finn shows him the crystal ball. It shows the two of them just doing dishes, and Jake says,
That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about.
Did you see the small connection? Look closer at the crystal ball. Finn's eyes are closed, foreshadowing the Hall of Egress. Previously, I stated that Pahoe is the most thought-provoking episode. Thank you for the immense support on that video, by the way, and while I still think it's a very contemplative episode, the Hall of Egress takes the cake for being the biggest mind of an episode in possibly any cartoon show. Do you guys think this is the most confusing episode in Adventure Time? Please subscribe for more content like this. Leave below any theories or interpretations you have. I would love to read them. Please check out my other Adventure Time videos here. I also make videos on other shows, cartoons, movies, and games. Leave a like, and thanks for watching.